Hello, dear viewers. Just a few hours ago, my colleagues and I, along with some analysts, were discussing the prospects of Donald Trump being re-elected, or rather, the collective Donald Trump in the upcoming elections, taking into account the forthcoming midterm elections for Congress. When I talk about the broader concept of the collective Donald Trump movement, I am specifically referring to the strategic process of passing the political baton over to J.D. Vance, or perhaps another Republican leader who deeply shares and champions the core ideology promoted by the current administration. That is exactly what I would like to discuss with you in detail today. And I will share with you our current working analytical findings and detailed observations regarding this shift. At the moment, the situation for Donald Trump appears rather contradictory. But it is by no means catastrophic, as many try to portray it. Formally, his position is quite stable. He retains a full presidential mandate, control over the executive branch, and significant influence over the Republican Party of the United States of America, especially over its core, which is key in decision-making. Party discipline remains very high within the Republican Party. There is no split within the Republicans that could lead to a constitutional crisis. The judicial system of the United States as well does not pose an immediate threat to Donald Trump. Despite the pressure and lawsuits, there are no decisions that could even theoretically lead to the removal of Donald Trump or a paralysis of power. And this must be taken into account when analyzing what might happen next and where the vulnerabilities lie, which will play a role in the future. But Donald Trump's vulnerability lies in public opinion. Approval ratings remain low and quite polarized today. Donald Trump relies on a solid minority, but as political scientists note, he is not expanding his support much beyond his electoral base. This is especially evident in the outflow among young voters and, of course, independent voters. This is critical in the context of the 2026 midterm elections, where there will be attempts to sideline Donald Trump. If the Republicans lose control of the United States Congress, this will sharply limit the political maneuvering room of the sitting president. Why? The fact is, if control is lost, immediately after the midterm elections, investigations will begin, initiatives will be blocked, and pressure will increase within the institutions themselves. Although this does not mean an entirely automatic threat to his position at this point in time. The key point, friends, is that talk about external influence or the supposed ability of foreign leaders, any of them, to remove the President of the United States has no real basis whatsoever. It's absurd. Right now, there are a lot of images on the internet showing photos suggesting that someone is supposedly controlling Donald Trump or trying to remove him. In reality, that's not how it works. To understand what determines Donald Trump's fate as president and what it depends on, it's necessary to understand the factors involved. There are only three of them. These are the three key factors. Maintaining party loyalty is the main factor. The absence of critical level court decisions, and of course, the results of the elections. First the midterms, and then the presidential elections. This is what actually works. As of today, Donald Trump remains in power, not because he is electorally strong, but because the institutions of the United States of America operate strictly according to procedures. This gives Donald Trump time. Of course, this does not guarantee future stability. The outcome is approximately as follows. Right now, Donald Trump is not under threat of removal and maintains control. At the same time, we cannot call his position entirely secure. The year 2026, it will be a turning point. Either he consolidates his influence through Congress and the party, or he becomes a weakened president. And here, the factor of stopping the war in Ukraine also plays an important role. Because this factor, the fact that he is unable to stop it, will also be used by his opponents. Based on this, we will see him intensify his agenda to end the war. And if he doesn't win the midterm elections in Congress, what will happen then? That is, formally he will remain in power, that's clear, but his capabilities will be significantly limited. And with limited capabilities, getting re-elected for another term will be problematic for him, though not impossible. It's very important here, friends, and I always talk about this on my broadcasts, to remove the mythology and focus on the real architecture of influence. The fact is, there is no puppet master. I understand that we all like theories of a single conspiracy, someone standing behind Donald Trump. His support, just so you understand, consists of several overlapping but not centralized circles. They come together situationally, but not through a vertical chain of command, just so you know. First of all, who is behind Donald Trump? Of course, it's the major American capital outside the globalist consensus. It's not classic Wall Street and not transnational funds like ESG. These are business groups focused on the domestic market of the United States, on industry, on energy, on real estate, on defense. These are billionaires, second-tier funds, family capital, and of course, oil and gas. This includes construction, logistics, and private security. So what is their interest? Their interest is the nation state, low taxes, minimal regulations, and strict immigration policy. They don't control Trump, but they back him as a tool to break the old elite. Of course, the second circle is political and ideological. Who are they? They are the conservative wing of the Republican Party. They are Christian evangelicals. They are Christian Zionists. They are part of the Catholic establishment. They are the anti-woke lobby. They are the America Fest movement. For them, Trump is not an ideal. For them, Trump, friends, what do you need to understand? He is a battering ram against the liberal bureaucracy, the academic and media class. Here, money is not what matters. What matters is mass mobilization and the discipline of the base. The third circle around Donald Trump is the forceful and institutional grassroots layer. Veterans, police unions, border guards, and partly intelligence agencies at the mid-level command. It's not like a conspiracy, it's more like a cultural affinity. Today, Trump is seen by these people as someone who does not despise the security apparatus and does not make them the scapegoat. This is very important. This gives Donald Trump resilience in the face of crises, but of course not absolute loyalty. The fourth circle is the media and alternative information. Of course, this isn't CNN, and of course, it's not the New York Times. It's more of an ecosystem of podcasts, YouTube platforms, X, formerly Twitter, and independent commentators. They are not subordinate to Trump, but he is the main driver of their traffic. It's a kind of, I would call it symbiosis, not control. And importantly, these are global elites. Of course, this is extremely important. Nothing works without them. These are transnational banks, classic Wall Street, major IT corporations, and most of the EU's financial capital. They are mostly not in favor of Donald Trump. They tolerate him, fear him, or try to integrate him, but they don't consider him one of their own. So in fact, transnational banks, classic Wall Street, major IT corporations, and most of the major players in the EU are playing against Donald Trump. Therefore, to say that Trump is backed by the global financial elite is incorrect. On the contrary, they are against him. Certain foreign leaders, neither Benjamin nor Netanyahu nor anyone else is behind Trump. There is an alignment of interests. There are tactical alliances, there is pressure, there is lobbying, but there is no external control over the President of the United States. This contradicts the very structure of American power. Of course, I'm saying this because there are so many. People say that he is controlled by various centers of power, that he is controlled by the City of London, or that he is controlled by Israel. That's not how it works. Of course, Israel is very powerful. Jewish elites are systemic, both in the globalist camp and among the Republicans. But there is no control as you imagine it in this format. Trump is not a puppet. He is a point where various interests intersect. He is supported by those who want to break the old globalist configuration. But none of them are able to directly command him. That's why Trump is very inconvenient. He is inconvenient for everyone. He is inconvenient both for his enemies and for his allies. Friends, I have shown you how practical analytics works in a working format in a video posted in the video section, where my colleague and I demonstrate how it works in practice, in a business, practical, you could even call it commercial, sphere. Watch this video. I would also like to tell you the following. Join our platforms on Telegram as well as our educational platforms. Subscribe to the Telegram channel and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I will continue, and I hope you always find it interesting. I do my best to make it so. Once again, thank you very much. I look forward to your comments and, of course, to seeing you again soon. Goodbye.